In this short tutorial, we're going to learn about analysis and analysis reporting in Synergi. We're going to work with the sample model. To open up the sample model, you just open up Synergi, and there should be a script that runs, or you can work on your model and follow along as we go through the sample model. You could also select the year over in the left-hand side of the table of contents. Okay, to run an analysis, you're going to click on Analysis on the top of the ribbon bar, and then you'll see all of the analysis options below. We're going to click on Load Flow. From here, you can decide whether you want your reports on or off by clicking the little light bulb below the ribbon bar. Once you run Load Flow, and if you have your reports on, you'll get a screen that looks like this. As you notice, a chapter pops up and you have all of the different load flow reports on the left on the table of contents, and you can click through those and you can see those reports in an HTML sortable, filterable type. Each report chapter has the ability to sort and filter on each column. To filter the column, go into the filter box, and you can use greater than, equal to type of logic to filter out the column. If you want to sort the column either before a filter or after a filter, just double click on the column header. And then if you want to do some more in-depth type analytics, you can actually export this to Excel. Go up to the menu bar and click in the area that says Open in Excel. Reporting precision can be updated by going into your preferences. Access the preferences by going up to the top of the ribbon, click on the power pole, drop down to the preferences, click on preferences, and then you can find preferences in the dialog box and go in and update the precision decimal points for each report type. By default, when you run reports, they will pop up on the Report tab next to the Map tab. Now, for clients that have multiple monitors, which most do, it might be advisable to create dockable reports. So when you click on a report, it'll actually open up on a separate window, and you can slide that over to your second or third monitor. To activate dockable reports, you'll go to the Model ribbon and go over to Output and select Dockable Reports. This way, anytime you run a report, it will show up on a separate window. You'll notice that report data is also on the facility editor. When you open up a facility editor, whether that's a switch or recloser or line section, the bottom tab is the Results tab. Clicking on the Results tab will open up all of the different results for the type of analysis that you've run. Within the device editors, you'll notice an Info tab. If you click on the Info tab, you'll get details about the particular asset, most likely referring to warehouse items. So in this case, this is a line section, has all the impedance values. If this was a protective device, you might see some of the different types of curves. So this tab is very useful. If you click on the Info tab, you'll get a lot of detail about the device type. We have a very useful option in Synergi along the table of contents area. There is a Results tab. If you look at the tabs that run north and south along the table of contents, when you're in the Map tab selected, you'll see Results. And if you click on Results, you'll see all of the different result options, and based on whatever analysis you've run, so if you've run Load Flow, you'll see all of the results options for Load Flow. Now in this graphic, you'll see that these analysis results also relate to a binary file that's laid down on your machine, most likely in the My Documents area. So you could actually look at that binary file, but essentially what we're doing is putting all of this information in the table of contents so you could quickly go through and select a report type, analysis type, and then you could quickly color the map. So in this case, I think we're looking at max voltage. So the map would correspond to this floating legend here. We have some new features in Synergi that leverage the Results tab over in the table of contents as well as the floating legend. In this case, we're showing an example of running load flow and then in the Results tab selecting % continuous loading. And you'll notice that the floating legend here on the map display automatically scales to the values in your model and provides you the color palette. Now, if you wanted to filter this, you can go over to the table of contents, click on the Model tab, and then go down to Sections, and you'll see the list of sections in the table of contents window below. And on the far right column, there is a color listing, and if you click on the Filter button, you'll see all of the colors, and you can select a color and you can filter by a color, which corresponds to the range of numerical values in the floating legend. From this section list, I've filtered on the yellow sections, which have a continuous loading percentage from about 18 to 24%. Now I can right-click on a particular section, and I can select Zoom to, and that'll take me to that section on the map. Map annotation can be accomplished in a few ways. One of the easiest ways to annotate the map is to go over to the table of contents window, select the Results tab, scroll down and find the analysis results that you would like to see on the map. Right-click on the analysis results. A dialog box will pop up and you can select annotate 1, 2, or 3. We have 3 locations, 3 placeholders that you can annotate the map. So if you want to add additional annotation, just select the other analysis and then select the annotate 2 or 3. On the Views tab on the ribbon, you'll notice on the far right-hand side we have a number of different worksheets. We have a capacitor worksheet, a DER worksheet, breaker worksheet, motor worksheet, large customer worksheet, fuse worksheet, recloser worksheet, regulator worksheet, switch worksheet, source worksheet, transformer worksheet, and so on. And these worksheets are nice to see kind of an asset class and just get the information all in one window so you can see the different status of that worksheet. We've got a little bit more work to do to actually put results out here, but at least it's a nice clean view that you can see all of the particular asset classes in one worksheet. Results Viewer is accessed from the ribbon from the Views tab. Click on Results Viewer and the Results Viewer will pop up. And as you hover over line sections, you'll see the biphase results associated with the line section that you're hovered over. So as you move your mouse around, you can hover over line sections and the results will be consistent with the line section that you are hovering over. Results boxes are a nice feature in Synergi if you want to persist some biphase results on the map. By right-clicking on a line section, you can click Results Box, and a results box will appear on the map, and you'll get biphase results. And these results will persist in this area of the map, wherever you slide that box over to. This way you can pan around the map, and you can keep those results up regardless of where you are on the map. Text labels are easily accessed in Synergi by right-clicking on a line section. You'll see the dialog box pop up, and in the middle of the dialog box is the text label option, which pops out another window that gives you an option to add a text label for fault reliability. If you do Quick Basic, then that will give you the dialog that's over on the right, which is simply volts out, amps into, kW into. Now, by default, this option will just display the label on the line section that's selected. If you want to go in and edit that, you can go in and just double click on the top line label, and that will open up the dialog box that's over on the right hand side of the screen, and you can go in and edit this in terms of changing the display values, changing the label text, other options here. Now, if you want to save this, you'll need to go to another option, which would be to store in the database. By default, these labels are stored in memory. So you can see the dialog box here at the bottom. There's a checkbox for store in the database. If you want to keep this label in your database, you'll need to check that box and then click apply. And now that label will be part of your model and be stored in the database. You can access charting a couple different ways in Synergi. If you go to the Views ribbon, you'll see charting on the ribbon, or it might be easier just to go to the Results tab in the table of contents, select the results that you want to display in a chart. But first you would need to left click on those results, then you would right click on those results, and then you would click Chart Plot. Now that you have the chart tab open, you'll notice on the left-hand side of the chart, there's lots of information. The very top drop-down box is like a template list, and then you can see that in this case, we've charted on balanced load flow. And then on the x-axis, we've got the miles from the source, and on the y-axis is the max voltage. Now, over on the left-hand side, just below, you see these filters. One of the options that's fairly new is the queried sections only. So if you ran a query and then you check the queried sections box, you go down to update, then the chart would filter on that and only show you the queried results. Another option in the charts is if you hover over one of the dots on the chart and you double click on the dot, it'll actually bring up the section editor, and then you can go over to the Results tab in the section editor and see the results from there. In the chart view, you can hover over one of the points on the chart, and then you can right click on that point, select Zoom to, and it will open up the map and then center that section on the map.